Hello and welcome to another one of our podcasts in our Voice in Writing section. This is another attempt to try and enliven some of the word choice we use and to create more excitement in some of the essays that we are turning in. And so we are calling this one Extreme Expression. And so before we start, we always want to caution our young writers as to when or when not to use some of these more voice-laden ideas. When we are writing, we must always think of that rhetorical triangle. Who is writing? What's the purpose? And for whom are we writing this? So audience, purpose, and tone. We have to think about that. So if we're supposed to be writing something exceptionally formal, like a college entrance letter, that may not be the time that you want to try the latest, greatest simile or some sort of cool anecdotal thing. Perhaps you want to save that for when you have something a little bit more informal. At the same time, if you're on the other end of the formality spectrum, adding some sort of metaphor on a text message might not hit it right on the head either. So all of these are experiments by you guys as writers. Some will go great, some will fall flat. The point is just keep practicing them and try them out and see what the response from the audience is. So oftentimes when we are trying to improve our writing, we go for adjectives. And these are the descriptive words that describe nouns. So the blue car, the fast airplane, the cool person in the middle of the novel, stuff like that. And so if we are going for that impact, adjectives are important. But there are so many of them that we have used over and over again that they have gotten overused and they don't really make any sense anymore. To say something is incredible or it's awesome is just overused. We use them too much in casual conversation so that when we see them in an essay and say something like, Lenny had a tremendous decision to make, George had an unbelievable responsibility. Well, like, what does that mean? That can mean so many things because they're so generic. And so we want to go for the idea of adjectives, but we want to look for creative ideas, new ideas that haven't been used. So some things to think about in terms of our adjective use could be these extreme figures of speech that we're going to talk about. And these words could be megaphors or minifors, again, as they are oftentimes called in the book Spunk and Bite, where all of these podcasts come from. We're just borrowing some of their ideas and trying to make them fit for our English class. So obviously you can see the root is metaphor, possibly simile also, but to create something that is comparing two things in a grand sense, we're going to make that a megaphor. We're going to make it so big and humongous, it's going to be obvious and great and new and creative. We could also compare things in terms of how small, and then we get the minifors. So as an example, there is a website, if you just Google megaphors, you can see this website. It's pretty funny that they often have sentence starters given, like the Wimbledon final was like blank, and then you could submit your idea. Like if you want to say it was so exciting, how exciting was it? Or if you wanted to say it was boring, how boring was it? Without just saying something like the Wimbledon final was like watching paint dry. Overused. We've totally done that before. Let's come up with something new. How boring was it? So the beach was more deserted than in between Paris Hilton's ears. Okay, how empty was that beach? Well, pretty darn empty if you're going to go ahead and also make the point that you think Paris Hilton isn't so smart. Okay, sounds good. You can see that they've got past ones here. You can look at those. You can submit your own. You can go ahead and look at the top 100 megaphors. Again, as always, as you go through some of these, some appropriate, some not, because you're going out there in the general public, and so you have to be aware of the fact that you have a larger audience. And so you may get some people trying to be funny in a pretty inappropriate way. But the idea is there. Rather than just saying, oh, that beach was really, really empty, and just using an adjective there, could you find something bigger, more explosive, more creative, more enlightening? And so you have people that have tried to take some of these adjectives, and unfortunately, they're past their prime. Okay, this whole phase of like, yes, your abdominal muscles are massive and you've been working out forever and we're going to pump you up and all that kind of good stuff. It's like, yes, he's got killer abs. Great adjective, killer, describing abs. Okay, that means they're really good, but kind of lame. Like, we've used it. We're going to play really hard. We're going to go out there and we're going to take it to them. We're going to stick it in their jaw. We're going to play smash mouth football. Again, I get it. It's rough. It's a violent game. But smash mouth, we're done. Like, it's been used. So let's try and find something not so cliche and find something new. So perhaps a little bit better might be to take something that we've used in one context and change it up and use it in a different context. For example, he had an industrial strength attitude about his ability to play basketball or something. Okay, well, we often see industrial strength relating to cleaners, Windex, Clorox, all those industrial strength cleaners, letting us know that they're exceptionally strong and potent and powerful. If you take it out of the context of cleaning supplies and then you throw it in the idea of somebody's attitude, that might be interesting. Okay, well, what's that mean? Potent, powerful, strong? Okay. A slam dunk essay. Interesting. All right, so powerful, aggressive, confident essay. Not just the basketball thing. So take it out of its originally used context and maybe change it up a little bit and put it into something new. Again, you have to kind of feel out that rhetorical triangle. Is this appropriate for your AP Lang exam? Maybe, maybe not. Is this appropriate for your essay in your English class about To Kill a Mockingbird? Maybe, maybe not. Take a risk, try it out, see how it fits. And if it doesn't feel right for you and your voice, don't use it. Maybe try something a little bit more subtle. Don't try it at all. But if you're looking for something new, changing these adjectives can give you a little bit different perspective. So some megaphor, trying to show something humongous. She's a Mount St. Helens waiting to erupt. Rather than just say that somebody is really, really anxious and nervous and they're going to explode, think, okay, what's the biggest thing that could have exploded in recent history? Ooh, Mount St. Helens. Massive volcanic explosion a while ago. Okay, well, let's put that on her. So she's not just nervous, she's Mount St. Helens. Interesting. She's Mother Teresa meets Hannibal Lecter. Okay, well, so instead of just saying she's really nice but also really mean, like lame adjectives, why not combine these with an allusion? Mother Teresa, known to be one of the nicest, longest living positive souls out there, combined with Hannibal Lecter, one of the most notorious movie villains out there also. Okay, she's Mother Teresa meets Hannibal Lecter. Wow, those are extremes. Rather than just saying she's really nice yet really crabby, use these. You have an allusion, you have some sort of megaphor, a good comparison that really creates an image in the reader's head. That's better than just saying she's really nice but also really mean. And so we can do this on the other end. If we want to make something exceptionally small, we might use what the book advocates as a minifor. So a skosh is Japanese for a little bit, maybe a minikin, okay, a petite or dainty person, or a scintilla means a piddling amount. So how could we combine those with things that we already use? So if you got a really small paycheck, your first job working at Waterworld, and you realize that minimum wage is barely going to cut it, maybe you say, instead of just saying, well, I had a really small paycheck, there was a lot of things taken out like taxes and who's this FICA guy? You might say, no, I didn't just receive a small paycheck, it was a scintilla of a paycheck. So you get something super small. They had a nano attention span, a gnat's breath attention span. Not just he couldn't pay attention, or he had a small or a short attention span, but a gnat's breath. Again, gnat is small, gnat's breath must be really short. Put that together with an attention span thing, you can show, rather than just tell, how short his attention span was, because it was the length of a gnat's breath. Super duper small. Some other examples. There was a highway pileup of random metaphors, a grisly shooting spree of meaningless analogies. Okay, maybe overdone, but the idea of a highway pileup, that creates imagery. You can totally picture that. Steinbrenner has littered the Yankees with the roadkill of managers past. Rather than just saying that Steinbrenner has gone through many managers over and over again, the idea of roadkill shows how quickly he has turned over some of these managers, how violently he has turned them over, how impersonally he has done it. He's like, run them over. They're roadkill. That's a lot more creative and engaging and enlightening than just saying, yes, Steinbrenner has gone through a lot of managers. Roadkill. That creates an image. That's awesome. John Daly's backswing is longer than Tolstoy, so you're making an illusion. John Daly is a big, powerful golfer who has been known to be able to hit that first ball off the tee pretty darn far, but he does it with a technique that has a humongous backswing in order to generate that power he needs. On the other side of that, we have Tolstoy, known for writing War and Peace, one of the longest books out there. And so if you're going to compare that, you don't just have to say John Daly's backswing is long, is really big, is really powerful. What a great way, metaphorically connect that to Tolstoy. And if you're writing to a learned audience, they would know Tolstoy. They would know what he's written. They would know he's known for long books. So you're actually saying he has a humongous backswing by saying it's compared to a really long novel. So that's kind of it for the extreme expression podcast that we have in terms of these adding voice to your writing series. Again, not every piece you write calls for this type of stuff. You have to examine the rhetorical triangle. What's your point? Who's your audience? What tone do you want to put out there? What's your purpose? I mean, it would be horrible to have something that's completely serious. You're trying to change the world and deal with some global environmental issue or whatever issue, and then you ruin your message by doing something silly. Maybe that's not the best time for it. But if you feel like your essay is demanding a little bit more lightheartedness or a better adjective than just big or good or incredible, maybe consider the idea of a megaphor, comparing it to something massive. Get an illusion in there. Give some sort of new comparison. Or if it's exceptionally small, compare it to a minifor. And again, peruse that website of megaphors.com, I think it is, and see what they have out there. But the point is, how can we move from boring adjectives to something a little bit more engaging, enlightening, and that show rather than just tell? So that's about it for now. As you're going, go ahead and bring in any questions you might have. We'll shore those up when we see you in class. But good luck on adding more voice to your writing.